My dear friends, welcome to Rajashekhar classes on applied data science with Python. This is lecture number 140. In this lecture, I will continue my discussion on confidence interval. First, we will try to solve one simple problem. A sample of 11 circuits means what is my sample size? My sample size n equal to 11. From a large normal population has a mean resistance. This is mean, which mean it is mean of this sample. This sample is collected from population. Therefore, that is sample mean. What is my sample mean? X bar equal to 2.20 ohms. We know from past testing, that the population standard deviation 0.35, that is sigma equal to 0.35. What we have to do? Determine 95% confidence interval. Means we must construct a confidence interval of 95% confidence interval. For whom? For the true mean resistance of the population. Just try to identify these parameters so that we will try to construct 95% confidence interval. As we discussed in my previous lecture, this is the formula for constructing confidence interval. As we discussed in previous slide, what is my x bar? X bar is 2.20. What is my sigma? Sigma is 0.35. What is my n? N equal to 11. At which percent confidence interval of 95%. If I keep x bar minus means I will get lower limit, plus means I will get upper limit. What is my x bar? 2.20 plus or minus. What is my z value at 95%? I already discussed in previous lecture. At 95, just refer my previous lecture. At 95%, what is my z value? 1.96. My sigma value is 0.35 by root n means root 11. Just if I simplify, I must add 220 plus 220 minus. This is my confidence interval. Confidence interval means it must have lower limit. This is my lower limit. This is your upper limit. By using sample mean x bar, I am estimating population mean mu. This is the lower and upper limits of the true population or population mean. We are 95% confident that the true mean means population mean. True mean in the sense here it is population mean. Population mean resistance is between 1.9932 and 2.4068. Your true mean or population mean is in between. What is the confidence? 95% confidence, isn't it? I will repeat. We are 95% confident that the true mean resistance is between 1.9932 and 2.4068 ohms. Although the true mean may or may not in this interval. What is the chance? What is the probability to lie in between these lower limit and upper limit? Out of 100 cases, what is the probability? 95 times it will be in between these lower limit and upper limit. Means my probability is 95 by 100. I can say your population mu is in between 1.9932 and 2.4068. probability is 9.95 or 95 out of 100 times it will be in between these lower limit and upper limit. 95 times it will be in between these limits. Only 5% of time you must say. You can also say like this. What it says? Only 5% of time this may not be the true mean. Just see, only 5% of time. Only 5% of time. Only 5%. This may not be. I can say like this. This may not be the true mean, isn't it? Means This may not be the true mean. How can I say this one? I can say this one is known as significance level. This is known as significance level, or you can say significance level, or you can say type 1 error, or you can say producer's error. There are three different names: producer's error, isn't it? This is significance level, type 1 error, or producer error. Anyway, we'll try to understand in detailed manner in my future classes. This is about my confidence interval. We know what is lower limit, what is upper limit. Now we will go to next category. We will predict confidence interval. How can I predict? Let me say like this. We will predict the confidence interval of the mean when sigma square, that is population variance, is not given. We already discussed this one. When sigma square is known, I already discussed, isn't it? Now, which one I have to discuss? I must discuss which case sigma square is not given. Sigma square means what? Population variance is not given, or sigma square is unknown. How will it be? We will try to analyze. We have predicted, we have predicted population mean with the help of sample mean, where the condition was sigma square is known, isn't it? This I already completed. This is completed. Now I must discuss about this one, sigma square unknown. Now we will see the next case in which sigma square is unknown. This case we will discuss. In this lecture, we will discuss sigma square is unknown case. Now we will see the next case in which sigma square is unknown. Then we will see how to predict the population mean. For this purpose, you have to use students t distribution or students t test. What is this students t distribution? We will try to understand. Consider a random sample of n observations. Here, what is this? This n means sample size, I can say. This n is sample size. Yes, consider a random sample of n observations with mean x bar. This my x bar is sample mean. X bar is sample mean. And standard deviation s. This s is known as sample standard deviation. You must understand this one. That one, sample standard deviation. Sample standard deviation, isn't it? From I can say like this, sample standard deviation is from a normally distributed population with the mean mu. What is your population mean? Population mean is mu. This is population mean. Then t equal to x bar minus mu by s by root n follows the students t distribution with it follows students t distribution with n minus 1 degrees of freedom. With n minus 1 degrees of freedom. In the normal distribution, I already discussed in what is normal distribution. In normal distribution, we were writing like this: z equal to x bar minus mu by sigma by root n. This is the formula which we discussed. Here, if you compare these two things, in the place of sigma, as this case is sigma is unknown case, in the place of sigma we are writing s. In the place of your population standard deviation, just we are writing sample standard deviation. Just compare with that z distribution or normal distribution. Here in t distribution, n should be, I must say, n should be the smaller number. For t distribution, n should be the smaller number. What is that smaller? How much smaller? Smaller number. This smaller number, it must be a small sample. That is, your n value must be less than 30, isn't it? When will you go for t distribution? When can I apply this t distribution? First case is sigma is unknown, isn't it? Sigma is unknown means your population standard deviation is unknown. Second case is your sample size is less than 30, isn't it? Sigma is unknown and sample size is less than 30 means certainly you can apply your students t distribution. Now we will try to understand confidence interval for mu. Sigma square unknown. Assumptions are population standard deviation is unknown. This must be the assumption. Population is normally distribution. If population is not normal, just use large samples. This is the formula. Just try to understand this. This is just like a formula which we discussed in previous lectures. It is something like x bar plus or minus margin error, isn't it? Tn minus 1 alpha n minus 1 degrees of freedom. What is degrees of freedom? I already discussed. For minus, how can I say this one? Actually, if the population standard deviation sigma, yes, if the population standard deviation sigma is unknown, we can substitute the sample standard deviation. Yes. You must rewrite this one. What is my formula? My formula is Tn minus 1 comma alpha by 2 equal to x bar minus mu by s by root n. Just I am replacing sigma by s. Just if you readjust, if you readjust this one, if you take cross multiply and readjust, you will get lower limit as well as upper limit of your confidence interval. For plus, if I write plus, you will get upper limit. This is my upper limit. For minus, you will get lower limit. This is known as, this can be treated as your confidence interval, isn't it? Now, how can I say the confidence interval is, as I told you, x bar minus Tn minus, this I already discussed. This can be treated as error. Which error? Margin error. Therefore, this entire interval can be written as x plus or minus me. Me means what? Margin error, isn't it? Me is called margin of error. Your margin of error is Tn minus 1 comma alpha by 2 into your, as you don't know this one, this is actually your s by root n, isn't it? We don't know the sigma. As we don't know the sigma, just we are saying that sigma population standard deviation is replaced by sample standard deviation. This is simple formula, simple and straightforward formula. Now we will let me continue my discussion on student t distribution. We will try to understand, look at this relationship between t distribution and normal distribution. We will try to understand that relationship. Before understanding, let me say that t is family. The t is a family distribution. It's a family of distributions. I can say this t distribution is a family of distribution. The t value depends on degrees of freedom, isn't it? What is my degrees of freedom? T value, I must say, my first point is, it is t distribution is a family of distribution. Your the value of t distribution value depends on degrees of freedom. Number of, what is my degrees of freedom? Number of, I already defined what is degrees of freedom in previous lecture. Number of observations that are free to vary after sample mean has been calculated. Means our degrees of freedom equal to n minus 1, where n is sample size. Just try to keep in mind these 3 points. Now we will try to understand relationship between students t distribution and normal distribution, that is known as Z distribution. Just see this figure, this particular picture. You can understand many things from this particular picture. What it says, we will start from the which one? A fatter one, isn't it? We will start from the fatter one. Fatter one t distribution are bell shaped and symmetric but have fatter tails than the normal. I can say like this, So when the degrees of freedom is 5, where is my degrees of freedom? Just see, this one is degrees of freedom 5, this one is degrees of freedom 5 curve. Yes, it is fatter, isn't it? When degrees of freedom 13, it is fatter than this normal distribution curve, isn't it? When the degrees of freedom is increasing, just see, when degrees of freedom is infinity, it behaves like just a normal distribution. Means as degrees of freedom is increasing, as degrees of freedom is increasing, it is just converges to normal distribution. Just it's look like normal distribution. Just see, degrees of freedom 5, degrees of freedom 13. Just if it is degrees of freedom 13, just it is approaching to normal distribution. As degrees of freedom increases, your t distribution will converge to, it will behave like normal distribution. That's what it says. Let me say like this: when the degrees of freedom is infinity, this is the case. This is the case. When the degrees of freedom is infinity, it behaves like Z distribution or normal distribution. That's why you must understand one important point here. That's why many software packages, see, there won't be any option for doing Z test. You must understand this one. There are many software packages, no option for, there you cannot find option for Z test, isn't it? No option for Z test. Z test means what? Normal distribution. We can find option only for, we can have option for t test, t distribution. Otherwise, we can find option only for t test, because when the sample size increases for the t test, just if you increase sample size for the t test, the behavior of Z distribution and t distribution are same, isn't it? I will repeat this point again. When the sample size increases, means degrees of freedom is increases. When the sample size increases for the t test, the behavior of Z distribution and t distribution are same. We will look at the student t table. I already discussed what is Z distribution table. Now we will try to compare that Z distribution table and t distribution table. You must understand there is a difference between Z distribution table and t distribution table. We will look at that student t distribution table. We will see there is a difference between Z table, means standard normalized table, and t distribution table. In Z table, whatever value which is given is the area. If you go through the Z table, I already discussed what is Z table in my previous lecture. In Z table, you can find the area. Area in the sense you can find probability. But in t table, the area is given in top. In top means just say like this. This is area. This is degrees of freedom. This column indicates degrees of freedom. This top one, this is upper tail, I can say. This 0.10, 0.05, these are known as areas, isn't it? Say 0.5, it's an area, isn't it? 0.5. Whatever the value given inside the table, it is critical value. These values are known as critical value within the table. Whereas in Z distribution, that is area means probability. You cannot have probability 6.314. You cannot have probability 2.920. That's what I am saying. Whatever the value given inside the t table, it is critical value. For example, just understand this one. For example, alpha by 2 equal to 0.05. What is 0.05? I must go here. The corresponding t values, just see, let me consider n is my sample size 3. Degrees of freedom is n minus 1. That I already discussed, that is 2. 2 degrees of freedom, alpha equal to 0.10. Alpha by 2 means what? 0.05. Just see, 0.05 and 2 degrees of freedom. 0.05, 2 degrees of freedom means this is 2.920. You must understand this is not an area. It is a critical value. in the case of Z table, you can find the area. Let me say like this: for alpha by 2 equals 0.05, the corresponding t value is 2.920. So for which degrees of freedom? For 2 degrees of freedom. So body of the table contains t values. This particular body contains t value. They are not probabilities. I can say they are critical value. Those values are critical value. What is critical value? I will discuss in future classes. Time being, just let me proceed further. A kind of comparison between t values and z values. Just see this one. First we will go for 0.95. Where is my confidence level? My confidence level is 0.95. First 0.95. This is known as confidence level, that is 95%. What is the value of z value? Is 1.960, isn't it? For different degrees of freedom, we are getting for 10 degrees of freedom, I am getting 2.228. For 20 degrees of freedom, I am getting 2.086. For 30 degrees of freedom, I am getting 2.042. If you observe carefully, as degrees of freedom is increasing, this is approaching to the your t distribution. Your t distribution is approaching to z distribution. That's what it says. Your t distribution will converge to z distribution as as n increases. So the value of t approaches z. So the value of t approaches z when n increases, isn't it? Just see, when n increasing, your t is approaching z. Yes, this table explains whenever the degrees of freedom increases, we are getting z is close to t distribution. Your z and t are so close as your n is increasing or degrees of freedom is increasing. It is simple problem. Just see this problem. A random sample of size n equal 25. Your sample size is 25 and x bar is 50. Standard deviation is 8. 95% confidence level interval. Just you have to find what you have to find. You have to find confidence interval. How can I find? We know that what is sample mean, x bar. Just I am substituting. This is t of n minus 1 comma alpha by 2. What is my sample size? Is 25. N minus 1 means what? N minus 1 means I can say n is 25. N minus 1 means I must say 24. Just say 24. And alpha by 2. How will I get alpha by 2? 95% confidence interval. Means my confidence level is 95%. 95% means that is 0.95. What is my confidence level formula? My confidence level is 1 minus alpha. I already discussed. That is 0.95. What is my alpha value? 1 minus 0.95 is alpha. Therefore, my alpha value is 0.05. I need alpha by 2, 0.05 by 2, that is 0.025. Just go to t distribution table. In t distribution table, you can have degrees of freedom in like this here. You can have 0.25 somewhere in top here, just corresponding to, let me say this is 0.25. This is something like 24 degrees of freedom. In intersection, you can find a value. That value will be 2.0696, 2.0639. Just go to t distribution table. Certainly you can understand this S is sample standard deviation 8. Just I am substituting root n means what is my n? Root 25. Just if you simplify it, you will get lower limit as well as upper limit. This is lower limit, this is upper limit. This one is known as confidence interval. Whose confidence interval? Your population means confidence interval. Here you must understand when can I apply this one. If you don't know, sigma is unknown. Sigma is unknown and sample size is less than 30. In that case, I can find confidence interval in this manner. Your true population mean lies in between 46.968 and 53.302 with the probability of 95%. Out of 100 cases, there will be in 95 cases, it will be lies in between these lower limit and upper limit. Just go through this lecture. It is simple and straightforward. Thank you very much.